Happy Thursday. Maybe not for a lot of people, everyone, given today. So a couple of things. One, obviously, this is going to be a video of my reactions to Super Showdown, the results and what happened. Probably going to talk a little bit after about some other wrestling related stuff. And I will say two things. One, I did not get to watch it live. I woke up late, so that's kind of messed up my whole day. I had a lot of stuff going on. I stayed up late, some personal stuff. Job related search stuff, and I went to sleep later. Did not get good sleep because it was disjointed because I had to wake up. So I missed the start. As I usually do, if I don't get to watch something live, I turn off my phone, I turn off my computer, and I focus just on the pay-per-view. Social media cannot distract me at all. I turn the phone on when it's done. I have over 30 text messages, of course, all wrestling related, most wrestling related. And then just out of curiosity, I go to Twitter and I got exactly what I expected out of Twitter. Let's talk, shall we? First off, we start with the OC. So I have to pull it up on the side. I have to remember the orders of the matches. So I hate to look at my laptop. Would rather focus on the camera. So the first match, pre-show, Viking Raiders and OC. And Anderson and Gallows. Not gonna lie, I was kind of surprised because, as I talked about in the video, OC's kind of been when they join together, they get the new theme, the new entrance with the lights and everything. It looks like they're going to have momentum. They get the tag titles. AJ gets the US championship. Things are looking great. And then all of a sudden, all the titles are gone, and they're just stuck in what we like to call Midcard Purgatory, Midcard Hell. But a lot lately, I've seen it referred to Midcard Purgatory, like you're just stuck there. And I was very surprised to see the Viking Raiders lose because, one, the Viking Raiders are a popular team. You feel like they're going to develop on Raw. I mean, they're great in NXT. They're going to move here. They're going to have success here. And the match itself, not a bad match. Not a bad match to start. It's not the official, kickoff match of the show since it's on the pre-show. The botch, which I hate to judge people for botches because, I wrestle. Everything is not perfect, and sometimes you have to adapt on the fly. But some look worse than others, and it kind of takes you out of the experience a little bit. And that one towards the end of the match looked kind of awkward. Like any high flying maneuvers are dangerous within and of itself, but when it's with a big man, you get nervous because you don't want to miss from that height because things go bad. Let me tell you, I've seen it happen up close and personal. So now the OC, they win. I'm already 0-1. Rough start. I was kind of surprised. Like, okay. So then we kick off the show and we keep the OC theme going because we got the Gauntlet Match. Start with Truth, Lashley. I can't believe that Truth actually lasted in the ring more than a minute with Lashley, given how Lashley dominated him on Raw. And yeah, so that one definitely caught me by surprise because I obviously picked Lashley to win. It was Lashley or AJ, and I not really hedging my bets. I picked Lashley, but guess I kind of hedged my bets. So R-Truth eliminates Lashley. I'm just like, what the hell? Entertaining though, so never give up, right? Andrade comes out next. Andrade also eliminated. Kind of talked about that before. He's just coming off a suspension. Usually, I feel like when wrestlers come off suspension, they're not looked at very well. Actually, good chemistry in the ring between the two of them. Like Andrade, I think is one of the best from a pure in-ring perspective. I think he's one of the best in the company. This is my opinion. His style is really appeasing. He can play a heel really well. To add to it, obviously, you have Selena Vega outside the ring that can add infinitely to his matches with the interference and different things you're able to do with her. But just him in the ring one-on-one is all, like, he can put on a good match with anyone. So him getting eliminated, nah. Okay. We're just gonna skip Rowan. I've already said enough how I felt about Rowan from the Royal Rumble. Like, dude, I don't know what's going on with him right now. Him being eliminated was just like, okay. Thankfully, though, AJ gets him out, so we're good. And then we have talking point number one for this pay-per-view, which I'll probably have to refer to a little bit later. Um, the last one we know, if you're keeping count, 3 eliminations via R-Truth. The fourth, AJ eliminating, tapping out Truth. So then you have the last one. Bray doesn't come out, and I'm thinking, what's going on? And then you see the black boots. If you're me and you're a big Undertaker fan, some things you just recognize without having to see. Like, you can just get a little snippet and you get just enough. So it's the Undertaker. I would have loved to have been happier about it, but since it was already spoiled by multiple people, both in chat and on my phone, even before then, that the Undertaker was in Saudi Arabia, I guess it's no surprise that the Undertaker is going to show up, right? So it kind of, I know in general people didn't like the moment, as I've seen on Twitter, but as an Undertaker fan, I was happy to see him, of course. I just wish I could have organically have been happy like I was with Edge. Just something unexpected. But, Taker comes out, the quick squash, chokeslam, 1, 2, 3, Taker wins. Taker wins the trophy. Didn't see that coming. At least if Taker was going to be there, I didn't see it being like that. Like I said, I tried to avoid, and I keep my head in the sand and avoid everything as much as possible going into Mania, and I was not expecting that, so I'm sure there will be some ramifications after. I know people ask about it. I really don't want to have to talk about it, but I guess I'm going to have to now. So I'm sure AJ and Taker aren't finished. So cool. Then we have the SmackDown tag titles. I said that I thought that this would be the best match of the night. I love shenanigans by heels. I really, really do. I thought it was a really solid match. I didn't think it was the best match of the night in my opinion, but I thought it was a really, really good match. It lived up to my expectations. I'll say that. The ending I thought was cool. The chair shot, the roll up, the tights, heels doing heel things, and you have the Miz and Morrison. So Morrison comes back, not as welcoming of a not as welcoming of a sight you would have liked to see. Like I marked out when I saw him coming back because I was a big John Morrison fan, but just didn't get the reaction I was hoping he would get. So maybe now with the tag championships, it'll happen a little bit more. Still can go in the ring. Still got it. The Miz, they said I know they were tag team champs long ago, but they just connect really well in the ring. They work well together. So do Kofi and Big E. It's good. It clears the New Day of the belts for now. We'll see what happens going into Chamber and Mania. I know they'll get a rematch, of course. But outside of that, that was a really, really good match. Like the way that it ended. A little cheating, get the crowd riled up a little bit, and you've got new tag champs. So far, I am 0 for 3. Got them all wrong. I said New Day would retain New Day would retain for now. Thankfully, a match comes up that I was pretty confident I was going to get right. That's Angel and Mr. Humberto, and Angel wins. Good match. Just good match. The ending was kind of, I don't want to say random, but it just felt like it was really sudden. I guess that's the word I'm looking for. Like you have the going back and forth with the pin attempts, and then boom, just it kind of felt out of nowhere. Boom, there comes that pin attempt that ends the match. But hey, Angel wins. So again, he's building some momentum. I don't know if he stays on Raw with Andrade being back. I mean, there's a lot of things you can do with him. I don't want to speculate on that. But whether he stays on Raw or goes back to 205 NXT, I think that if he doesn't stay on Raw, he goes back there in good graces, and I hope that they'll keep that momentum and keep him going. Humberto, he can go in the ring. just hasn't been winning of late. That can always change though, but he's still on the card, still, mid-card guy. He's getting things done in the ring, just not getting the wins, but making guys look good. And still, if you're making guys look good, you always have a place in wrestling. There's always a use for you. The Raw Tag Team Championship. So now we go on a win streak here. Seth and Murphy retain. Thank you. I feel big picture that those tag titles will get dropped relatively soon. Where I see Rollins may potentially go, I'm not trying to put my vision on others, but I see Rollins getting back at some point in the Universal Championship picture, not necessarily winning it, but being back in the picture. It's hard to be in the picture when you have another championship, especially a tag team, because it's two very contrasting styles. But like you said, he has been dealing with some injuries. This helps him out because he's in tag matches, multi-man tag matches, where he's able to not have to exhaust his body as much and put himself out for as much punishment. This is good. Really good match. Street Profits, I thought was a really good showing. Me personally, this was my favorite match of the night. I would say probably I liked the SmackDown, for the SmackDown titles match. I preferred the psychology in that match better. But aesthetically, just watching as a fan, I like this match. But I love Rollins. Rollins is one of the best workers in the business, in my opinion. I'm not talking about the WWE. I'm talking about big picture. And Murphy is underrated. I think he's finally starting to get a shine. That's why I like him being with this group, because it's going to help build him up. And once he's gone, then hopefully he'll be going off to bigger and better things. You know how it is with stables. Collectively, there's a vision. It may benefit one, but the rub that it gives everyone else in the process helps them down the road. Or, the vision of the group changes to be able to focus on multiple people at once. So obviously, Rollins is going to be the focus. He's the dude. But AOP and Murphy definitely will be able to benefit from having that rub with Rollins being the leader of their group. And, the referee, maybe he does come in handy in other situations too. Just saying. Good match. The right team won. I'm happy with the result. Street Profits, their time will come, just not yet. Bigger stage for that moment. Not saying it has to be Mania, but just a bigger stage. The easiest match of the night, Dolph Ziggler. You already knew he was going to lose. Whenever you have a pay-per-view or a show, a televised show, and they make a big deal about someone coming home, if you just listen to the commentary, you already knew he was going to lose. But Ziggler did his job. Had a good match, made him look good, made him look like $1 million, takes the L. That's what Ziggler does, unfortunately. I really like Ziggler in the ring. Really solid match. The right guy won. Give the hometown, home crowd, home, whatever you want to call it, pop. Deservedly so. And we go on. And then we have a lot of complaining. Brock and Ricochet. Even for me, I knew it was going to be a short match. I said it was going to be a short match in the preview, but even I didn't think it was going to be that short. I had to go back and I admit I had to go back and watch, because I went in the kitchen to go fix a snack real quick, and I come back to hearing Brock's music. I'm like, what? Do you want to talk about squash? That's the squash of all squashes there. Wow. A minor road bump on the road to WrestleMania. So like I said, you already knew Brock was going to win. I just thought that they would give Ricochet an opportunity to get some offense in and to get a chance to not necessarily win, but just to get a little bit of shine. Because you can lose in the squash and still come out looking good, gaining momentum. You don't in situations like that, because it's just an annihilation. It's just honestly just filler at that point. Just has a title on it. So Brock retains. No surprise there. The manner that he did, very surprising. Roman Reigns, King Corbin. Not gonna lie, I actually like this match a lot. I would say this was match number 3 for me. And you know how I feel about Roman Reigns. Cage matches are kind of tricky because you don't want to, like, you can win by escaping the cage, and escaping the cage, pin, whatever, multiple ways. So there's different ways you can play it. I like that you have the cage, but sometimes I don't like that you play a bit too much into the cage where it takes away from being able to do stuff in the ring. Because still, a normal match is just surrounded by steel, which obviously is your advantage, but you don't want that to be the primary focus, though it is a steel cage match. It's different. To me, a steel cage match versus Hell in a Cell are totally different because Hell in a Cell, I perceive it as a destruction type match, whereas steel cage, it's there to provide a extra weapon, but mainly to me it's to keep people out and to provide an extra way of being able to get fans and immerse into the match, because climbing on opposite sides, trying to climb out, the crawl to the door, the risk of someone falling off the cage, high up on the wall. So I mean, there's a lot of ways it can go. I thought the match was well laid out. The right guy won. This feud, like I said, probably is not over going into Elimination Chamber, but as far as a one-on-one scenario, they're done. I think they bumped paths in the Elimination Chamber. Maybe Reigns will eliminate him, but I think all in all for the feud, it's done. As far as singles competition, it's been fun. It's had a lot of bumps and bruises, a lot of twists that we may not have seen. The dog food one being kind of hilarious, but Roman Reigns eventually goes over. That's what you like to see. He's going to be on to bigger and better things starting next pay-per-view. 2 more matches. The women's title match. First ever in Saudi Arabia. Big moment, right? You got Bayley defending against Naomi. Better match than what I've seen. It just goes to the level of, I don't want to say the level of your competition, because I don't want to discredit any of the other women that she's interacted with. She started with Charlotte, but it's just different when you have someone in the ring who you can go and is capable of putting on a good match. And I talk about a good match as far as the ring psychology is there. It looks clean. Naomi makes that look better. I can imagine being nervous on a stage like that because this is a big moment. The ending perfect. Again, Bayley. I picked Naomi to win because I thought the title would change hands. I thought this would be a big moment. Big reason to do it. We'll see what happens from here. But hey, Bayley, heels doing heel things. I can't remember too many times now I think about it that Bayley was able to successfully defend the championship without cheating. Cool. And then the last match, and then we have a chat. The Fiend defending against Goldberg. All you need to know from this match is it 4 spears, 5 spears, and a jackhammer. A couple of mandible claws put in there. Goldberg able to break free. I know the jackhammer wasn't the best looking jackhammer that he's put on. Goldberg wins. Goldberg is your new Universal Champion. The Fiend is up. The lights go out. The Fiend is gone. Goldberg celebrates. Now, let's talk. I am very surprised by this result because I thought the Fiend would win. You go into WrestleMania, you build him up by beating Rollins. And let's remember Rollins. The ref threw out that match, no contest, because of what I felt like a billion stomps, the toolbox, the chairs and everything, like literally tried to kill this man in the ring, for lack of better words, and that wasn't enough to keep him down. Then he beats him. He wins the championship. Then you have, no, there's no rematch. Then you have the feud with Daniel Bryan. And I really loved that strap match. Really, really did. I thought it was Bray's best match since being back. No offense to Rollins. Bray wins. So you're thinking you're going to build, and go on to WrestleMania and win against Goldberg, who's a legend. Expected a match to be short, so I have no problem with the match length, but you expected it to be short regardless, whoever won. And, he goes over Goldberg, and then he's really got some momentum going into Chamber and Mania. And then we have the awkwardness of Goldberg winning, because, all that just kind of gets stuffed. So here's the two things that I want to specifically talk about on this video, which is why this video is going to be long. One, this is the trap of always trying to project and predict what happens in the future. Sometimes it's easy to stay in the moment because Goldberg wins. Everyone's upset that The Fiend lost. I was surprised. I will admit I wasn't thrilled about it. I wanted The Fiend to win. I've loved Bray Wyatt's character. I've always loved Bray Wyatt. I thought he had the potential, and still think he does have the potential to be this era's version of The Undertaker. But this is the problem. And I've been reading on Twitter, haven't been commenting on it too much. I feel like so many people project in their head what should happen. So many people project what is going to happen down the road. Sometimes it's easier just to stay in the moment and just watch and see what happens. If you don't like it, I totally understand. We're not going to agree with every decision that gets made. Plain and simple. I mean, in my perfect world of wrestling, I probably have different people holding championships. I have different feuds, but it's not my product. I'm a fan. I'm a consumer of it, but I'm not the end all be all. So I watch, and I watch because I want to see what happens. I don't know what the payoff from this is going to be. I don't know what happens with Goldberg down the road. I don't know what happens with Bray down the road. It's part of the interest in why we watch, because we see. Because if you ask me honestly, how many people back then would have been okay with Austin as the ringmaster eventually becoming Stone Cold and being that dude? How many people are going to predict that? Sometimes it's easier just to wait and see what happens, watch, assess it as it happens, and then see what the future holds down the road. You lead yourself into mass disappointment when you try to basically make things happen, because we have no control. Like I said, it's not our product. I look at it like TV shows. Walking Dead, Lost, Breaking Bad, Game of Thrones. It is art, just like pro wrestling is. We don't make the decisions, but we consume it and watch. We don't agree with everything, but it just drives me nuts sometimes when I see people just, this ending sucked. I don't like this ending. It should have been like this. It's not your show. It's their show. There's a million different people that are going to have different answers on what should happen. It's a hard way to watch wrestling. It really, really is. That's number one. Number two, and I'm going to acknowledge this, the WWE, one of the things that I've been concerned about over the years as I've watched the product is people tell me that the Attitude Era was better. I vehemently disagree. I don't think the Attitude Era is the best version of the WWE at all. It's not. But the problem that we have now is that I think, just as an observation, I would say a problem is with the fan base. I can see how it can be a problem going forward, but I'm going to say with the fan base. We have this dividedness. We want new stars to be pushed. Bray, Daniel, I'll say Reigns, I'll say Rollins, and there's others. But then you have the reaching back to the stars of yesteryear, The Undertaker, Triple H, Goldberg, to a point I'd say Lesnar, since he's a part-timer. The dependency on those stars and him stunting the growth. So there's a balance, okay? You want to develop new stars, because at some point at some point you have to, if you're going to keep reaching back, at some point you have to reach back into what exists now. And you're not going to be able to if you can't build up these guys on this current roster. And I'm talking about active roster, throw out the similar age range. Where are you going to be able to pull from? Reigns, Rollins, Daniel Bryan. You make it hard on yourselves because you're not giving these other guys, like Kevin Owens. We'll see what happens with Bray Wyatt. Other guys an opportunity to grow and develop into those mega stars. the industry is a little bit different right now, so I can understand. I also do understand, though, that it is WrestleMania, and you're always trying to pull in eyes from the outside. Is it flawed? You may think so. But this is something that the WWE does. They have those special attraction matches with guys that aren't all on the active roster. So there's the balance of fans gravitate to these older guys. Can't say that they don't because ratings say otherwise. But at the same time, fans complain about the new guys not being stars. So there has to be like some middle ground in there somewhere. Like, well, part of the reason they're not stars is because they get pushed up and then they get brought back down for those part-timers to come back in and have those moments on those big shows. On the other hand, going back and grabbing them for certain events do help drive the ratings for those events too. So it kind of puts you, from a business perspective, I can see why I put you in an awkward position. Me, as a wrestling enthusiast, I care about what happens in the ring. I'm a huge Undertaker fan. I would be cool with Taker coming out just at WrestleMania, once a year, have a match, maybe randomly some other time during the year having a match or just showing up and, whatever. I'm cool with that. I don't need the dependency because I enjoy watching the guys in the ring. And I know those guys can't go like they could in their prime, so I get it. But there's always that nostalgia effect of having those guys come back and having those moments because those are guys that we grew up watching and ladies that we grew up watching. So it's a tough one. I felt like I wanted to say more on it. This video is getting close to like half an hour long. But I just will say this. I get the feeling that everyone is upset about Goldberg winning the championship. I get it. But I will circle back to this. If you remember, if you were in chat with me, when Bray was announced to be getting a title shot against Seth, I'll say, man, this paints a tough picture for the company as far as creative because you're building him up to a monster. So how are you going to build him up to a monster and have him win the championship? How is he going to lose it? One thing I would say would have been a really interesting idea is if they would have had him lose it as Bray Wyatt instead of as The Fiend. Though he kind of no-sold a lot of the Miz's offense in that match at TLC. Just throwing that out there. That might have been another way of doing it by protecting the Fiend character. I get it. I'm sure some people probably would agree with me. Maybe some people hadn't thought of that. But I always felt once he was put in the title picture, like, man, it makes it awkward because if he doesn't win the championship, how can you make him not win it without making him look weak? Then once he wins it, like, okay, well, how is he going to lose it? How long can he keep it? And you make it hard on yourselves. I'm really curious to see what happens with Bray going forward. That is my big takeaway from this match. Not worried about Goldberg. It's not gonna be a long title reign. He's gonna drop it relatively soon. I'd say probably WrestleMania at worst. But I'm curious to see what happens with Bray going forward. Maybe, and I'm cool because you can have him drop the title and still be great without being in the title picture. I think sometimes people forget that. The Undertaker was great without having the title. I just may have wished Bray losing the title may have been done in a different fashion. I get the fans' vitriol from it. It is what it is, unfortunately. That's all I have to say. The other thing I was going to say, and I'll just make this short. Guys, gals, I get the WWE makes you feel some kind of way. If it does, I just have one thing to say. Just like I say about video games, I'm very, very frank about it. If you don't like the product, don't watch. If enough people don't, that's the only way you get change. I say that with Madden. I tooted that horn all last year. If you don't like the game, don't buy it. You can't give them your money. You can't give them your time and expect something to happen. No matter how much you complain, remember, us on social media are a very small minority of the fan base. I know it's hard to take that in at times because you think like we have this big voice, we can get change. We are just a minority of the the fan base. The easy way to talk is with your money. Don't subscribe to the network. Don't attend shows. Don't order pay-per-views if you go old-fashioned. They lose enough money, that's when you see change. Big picture. AEW, Ring of Honor, Evolve, TNA Power, New Japan Pro, and many, many other organizations, promotions are out there all across the country. You can find good wrestling, whether you're looking for in the ring, whether you're looking for storylines, characters, whatever. They can be found if you look hard enough. If you're not happy with the WWE product, I could understand why you feel that way. All I can say is just don't watch. If you don't watch, enough people have that mindset, things change. Until then, we'll see what happens. Thanks for watching, guys. I will see you in stream.